very best training is the worst training. Now what I mean by that is that the most boring training, the most tedious training, the most basic training, the most fundamental training is the very best of all training. See, you can spice up your program with hundreds, thousands of moves, patterns, but you know, the principles that really matter, body structure, leverage, really, timing, you know, structure under load, if you're talking weightlifting of any sort, you know, the biomechanics of movement, if you're doing more of a movement practice such as parkour or gymnastics. The best training is the stuff that really develops your key components to work in their necessary function. Your scapular strength, your hip drive, you know, are you able to grip and manipulate well? You know, are you able to hold your core tight? Are you able to relax muscles at will and contract specific muscles? Things like that. You need to be able to work through these most basic, most fundamental ideas first. And training like this, though it can be tedious, is not going to be the kind of training that necessarily leaves you gasping at the end of practice. It's not the kind of training that's going to leave you sore for days. It's the kind of training that builds real personal development. And from a survival fitness perspective, you have to be able to save you before you can save someone else. So personal development is of the highest priority. And if you are a dysfunctional being, then you're going to have much, much greater difficulty helping out those other dysfunctional beings who cannot help themselves. It is our goal within the Renaissance to become higher functioning, fully functioning beings. We are looking to have a broad base of high-level skills that can transfer from one aspect of life to another, from civilized society to primal society to no society. We're looking to have this fluidity of motion between, and you can't have that unless all the groundwork is laid. So expect to hold horse stances for inordinate amounts of time. Expect to stick to very basic lifts and calisthenics, push-ups, pull-ups, deadlifts. You know, don't expect to be going off doing all these other advanced maneuvers until you have these basic ones down. Now, as a coach, am I going to force you? Am I going to hold a gun to your head and say, you must do it this way? No, because I recognize that there is a need for individual adaptation, individual outlook and all that. But I need you to understand that when you're training, it's not about how you feel the workout. It's about how you experience the progress. My workouts lately have been building towards goals. I'm working on levers this year. Very, very slow progress. But I can tell I'm making progress. And it is frustratingly slow progress. But I'm sticking to the path because I know I need to just keep at it. Now, am I just mindlessly grinding away? No, I've got a program laid out. But the point is that you will face tedium, you will face grinding, you will face this feeling of, did I even do anything today? Yes, yes you did. You're working out your neuromuscular system. You may not be working out your cardio system. You may not be ramping up your heart rate, though you should be. You may not always be ramping up your heart rate. You may not always experience heavy breathing, but you should be experiencing heavy thinking. You should be experiencing heavy feeling. You should be experiencing heavy awareness of what you are doing. I can't stress to you how important it is to ground yourself in these basics before you move on to the advanced stuff, because without grounding yourself in the basics, the more advanced stuff you're going to find yourself cutting corners to achieve. And that's no way to go about it, because in the end you just have a false sense of security in those motions, and you are lining yourself up for injury due to poor form, or you are lining yourself up for a task that is insurmountable. Think of it like if you've ever played a role-playing game, a video game style role-playing game, and you get to a point in the game where you are facing this really incredible level boss and you can't beat it, and it's because you progressed so fast, but you didn't actually really build your stats very much. You didn't spend the time grinding out the fundamentals of it. You just kind of kept on pushing up, going through the motions of progress, but not actually building them on anything. And when it came time to that battle, you keep dying over and over and over again until, it's game over, you get frustrated, whatever. Life is actually a lot like that. Your training is going to be a lot like that. So stick it out, grind it out. It may not always feel like you're doing everything, but I swear to you, the best training really is the worst, most awful training. Till next time, good journey.